Hey everyone, my name is David. I'm with the Real Man's Club. Tonight we're going to be making a short video about the tools that you may need or want to get to be able to break down the electronical parts or components to get your gold and silver and other fine metals out of. So let's get started, shall we? The first and foremost thing I would recommend getting is a really good screwdriver set. Um, and what I mean by that is that you want to get a screwdriver that has everything with it. This one here is a ratchet, so it will allow me to not have to lift up and put it back on every time I need to move or do anything like that. But it also comes with all the other tips as well too, different sizes and other stuff. I also went even a step further and got a little side thing to where it has the star bits, the box tips, and all the other tips that I would need to get into computers or VCRs or anything like that, because they all have these type of bits, um, screws that have these bits that will be needed to get inside of them. So definitely make sure you get a really good screwdriver set. You will need it. Also, I recommend is getting a power tool. And now it doesn't have to be a full size DeWalt or anything like that, but it does have to be something that can power through all that stuff. So I found this one here at Amazon for like 15-20 bucks. Wasn't very expensive. It's rechargeable, but it allows me to get the job done. But this is much quicker than me doing it by hand. And everyone knows that the teardown on your objects is probably the worst thing we have to deal with. And we want to get it done as quick as we can so we can move on to the next object and the next object and the next object, so we can get our gold. So highly recommended is to get one of these. If you can't get one of these, I mean, definitely have to have one of these. Don't get a screwdriver set without all the bits because it won't do you any good. You know what I mean? So highly recommended on both. Now, as far as the next tool it goes, it's a tool that you will definitely need. Um, it will be a good set of pliers or needle nose pliers. Uh, these will allow you to bend back metal, um, even to cut wires off because it does have a cutter on the back end. Um, Bend stuff, even get into smaller areas because obviously your fingers are not going to be able to reach everywhere. So definitely a pair of needle nose pliers are recommended. Um, Besides the pliers and the screwdriver, uh, you are definitely going to want to get a chisel. A chisel will allow you to do many different things. Uh, Bust stuff off your boards, bend stuff back. I mean, it, obviously, the name says it all. It chisels everything right off of whatever you're trying to, get rid of. Um, I got a chisel set. So my set came with different sizes of the chisel. So if I needed to get into a smaller area, I could use, this chisel here, which is obviously kind of small. And then it upgrades, it goes further up. So like this one's a little bit bigger. And then, of course, this one. And then I've got one even bigger than this. A good chisel set will get you a long way. And it works extremely well getting off all this fine stuff off your boards, because you want those boards to be as clean as possible before you get them into the solution. So a good chisel set, and of course what comes with the chisel set that you're going to need is either a hammer, or a mallet. Any hammer will work. It doesn't matter what kind it is. Same thing with a mallet. It doesn't matter what type of mallet you get, as long as they are in good structure. They will do. They'll both do the job. So make sure you have either or at least or both. It doesn't matter. They both work good. I mean, they both will bend stuff and break stuff. So that's all that matters. All right. So next would be what I would consider a breaker bar. Um, and the reason why you would need that is so if you needed to get in between something and break it open, or anything like that, you want it to be nice, thick, um, and to be able to do the job. In this case, I don't have really a breaker bar. I chose the biggest screwdriver I had, which is a flathead, but you can tell it's stout. I can jam it into anywhere basically, and I can bend it over, crank it, do whatever I need to do to make sure I can get that object open. So definitely get yourself a breaker bar. Beyond that, so the little black chips that are on these motherboards that we use, a lot of guys will chisel them off. I've seen guys do all kinds of stuff to them, and it's fine. You can use chisels, you can use, hammers, you can use picks, you can use all this other stuff, but you can damage the chip. And it's not that you don't want to damage the chip, it's that you don't want to damage the gold that's underneath the chip is the problem. Um, if you scrape off the gold or anything like that, that's where you're starting to lose money instead of making money. So I recommend getting yourself a great box cutter. And you can get box cutters in any form. I've got another one here as well too, just like this. Um, a box cutter will actually cut right through the chips, the little legs that come out on each side. Um, you can run this straight down on those legs and it'll cut right through them. So definitely get yourself a good box cutter. Not only that, but you can get up underneath it and cut a little bit, get up underneath that chip and then pop it open. Um, so definitely get yourself a good box cutter. You will definitely need one of these for many, many reasons. You can even cut off the wires with these. You can do all sorts of stuff. So a good pair of box cutters go a long way. And what else? Oh, of course, you're going to need yourself a good pair of snips. Something that can cut through metal, something that can cut through wires, tapes, anything like that. I have just the regular old Jane Plain cutters, if I can find them here. Excuse me. Here we go. So I've got these right here. Great pair of cutters. A lot of people use 10 snips or something like that. That works fine too. I also know people that use this. This cuts, metal like it's nobody's business, but it also cuts through the circuit boards like it's nobody's business. Heyday loves to use a cutting board, like old school fashioned school cutting board where they cut paper with it and stuff. It looks like this. This works extremely well too. I've actually just used this not too long ago, and it cut through the boards like it was nothing. So I've kind of stopped using these and kind of went to this a little bit. And then what this can't take care of, I just use my small cutters and I just clip right through it. So definitely get yourself one of the three. You will definitely need this to cut back stuff. I would use the cutting board for your chips or your boards, but you definitely want to get yourself a pair of these for metals or anything else. Beyond that, I would suggest getting yourself something fairly large, like a small bolt cutter or something like that. Sometimes when we get into these objects, screws will be stripped, or you may strip a screw and it's got a bar around it and you can't get it apart, and you need to bust that screw off. Well, that's where a pair of nice bolt cutters will come in handy. Obviously, you can get them much smaller than this. You don't have to have them this large. They do come small. But they will bust through just about anything that would be thrown in our way. So I highly recommend getting yourself a pair of, something strong, like a pair of bolt cutters or something like that. Beyond these things here, there's 100 other different tools out there that could probably make the job easier. This is just a basic representation of the things that you would need or might need to get into your electrical components. So with that being said, don't spend tons of money. If you can get stuff from the dollar store, great. Go get tools from the dollar store. If you find, a yard sale, get them from the yard sale. They don't have to be brand new. They just have to work. We don't want to spend lots of money because we're not making lots of money yet. Once you get bigger, or once you start making and your money starting to roll in, then you can, invest in getting some bigger and better tools. But until then, get what you can get, use it to the fullest, be safe with the tools, and go get your gold. All right, guys.